and end this war once and for all and bring our boys home.
If you're someone who simply can't get enough of the twisted anti-superhero drama that's delivered by the Boys universe, you're in for a treat. After the phenomenal success of the original series and the spin-off series Gen V, the plans are all set to step further into this diabolical world as a new prequel series is announced. The San Diego Comic-Con turned out to be a major revelation, and Prime Video confirmed that they're going ahead with the series titled Vought Rising, which has been described by Eric Kripke as LA Confidential with superheroes. In this video, we'll bring you everything there is to know about this talked-about prequel saga and all that you can expect from the show. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. What will be the premise of Vought Rising? We've already talked about how this will be a prequel series. From whatever little has been revealed so far, the time period is going to be the 50s. So far, we've seen Vought International as a thriving corporation that does business by the billions and has a global empire. However, little is known about how it all began, except for the slight tidbits that are provided in The Boys or minor flashbacks from the bygone era. Vought Rising will look to capture the meteoric rise of this organization, and maybe we'll get to witness the chaotic circumstances that led to this superhero company in the first place. What can we expect from the story of the series? Aside from the generic premise that we just discussed, the heart of the story will consist of the early adventures of Soldier Boy, and you'll also find Stormfront in the mix of things. The early days of Vought should also look into the details of Compound V and how it all came together. It's been suggested by Eric Kripke that the show will have a twisted murder mystery at its core, and we believe that it's safe to expect the same dark theme that we're used to in The Boys. Setting the story in the 1950s will come with its set of challenges, and one of the first things that the show will have to deal with is the lack of technological advancement of that era. Of course, the soups injected with Compound V are gonna have their superpowers, but Vought can't gain the support of the masses through social media like they have done in The Boys. Also, it'll be interesting to watch out for all the characters that they can use in this series. We expect to see someone like Stan Edgar, who'll probably be in his early days and possibly in a lower position than we're used to seeing him. It's quite intriguing how someone of his ethnicity gets to rise up the ranks and hold so much power over the years, given that the organization has Nazi roots. The Nazi connections of Vought were exposed at the end of Season 2 when Stormfront's real face was out in the open, and now we'll get to witness more of this dark and twisted beginning. Can you imagine a Nazi scientist and his wife coming to the US and setting up one of the biggest companies ever that's largely based on feeding lies to the public and creating a godlike image of the soups? We're eager to find out more about Frederick Vought and how he achieved the impossible by setting up a company that could one day fulfill his twisted ideas of Nazi supremacy. You should be prepared for tons of drama and a solid social commentary throughout the narrative. And surely, the series will dish out unexpected twists, just like the makers do in The Boys Gen V. Get a solid origin story of Soldier Boy. Will it be revealed what makes him so special and more powerful than the other soups? We get a brief glimpse of Soldier Boy's backstory in The Boys, but the details can only be confirmed if the prequel series plays around the events that make him who he is. Many of the fans will be curious to know how he becomes so much more powerful than the other soups, and we might just have an answer to that hidden in the way he achieves his superhero abilities. Also, you won't get to see his explosive powers that he acquired after the Russian experiments on him, but his original mighty self and unique personality might be enough to spice things up. We believe that the show will also highlight his relationship with Vought and the important officials, because something must have gone horribly wrong along the way for them to sacrifice him entirely. The timeline of the show could well be from the time Vought came up with its first soups to the time Soldier Boy is captured by the Russians following a betrayal by his own teammates backed by the organization.
Now.
I do like the...
Which other characters can you expect to appear in the show? Vought Rising might be focused on Soldier Boy and Stormfront, but there are gonna be many other important characters, some of whom we're already familiar with. The first among these characters who will surely be a part of the show is Frederick Vought, the Nazi scientist who came up with the entire business idea fueled by his twisted ideologies. He's the founder of Vought International, and we might finally get to see how he got the job done against all odds. This underdeveloped villain deserves a lot of screen time and a talented actor playing the role. It's also expected that we'll get to see see a younger version of Black Noir at some point, because he's worked alongside Soldier Boy during his stint as a Supe. Wouldn't it be fun to watch Black Noir before he loses his mind and becomes a cartoon hallucinating killer robot? More about his backstory will be a mouth-watering prospect for the fans. Supes who were alive during the 1950s, such as Man-Bot, who's a parody of Marvel's Vision, and Steel Knight, who's Tech Knight's predecessor, can also be seen in the show. It can't be a complete Soldier Boy story without his muse, Crimson Countess, and we might get to see the details of her betrayal of Soldier Boy if the show lasts till the time he's taken in by the Russians as a Vought conspiracy.
Come in, you are more than welcome to party.
Herogasm takes place, famously at a superhero world.
Herogasm origins will be explored in the show. At some point during the show's run, Vought Rising will delve into the origins of Herogasm, which has easily been one of the most scarring and controversial moments in the graphic novels and the Boys TV series. The cat was out of the bag after Eric Kripke was asked about the inclusion of Herogasm in this prequel series, and he replied, "I think we'd be crazy not to, because Soldier and Stormfront founded it. They're the two leads of this new show. Since these two are the main leads, we'll get to witness how it all started, and we'll finally have the answer as to why the Supes assemble for a massive orgy on a regular basis. Let's not forget that exploring Herogasm in the show will also be a massive viewership draw, and surely, wise minds like Eric Kripke wouldn't want to miss out on the opportunity. What's the cast of the show going to be like? It's already been announced that Soldier Boy will be the star of the show, and Jensen Ackles will reprise the role following his success and popularity in The Boys. The other recurring character will be Clara Vought, or Stormfront, who managed to remain ageless just like Soldier Boy and finally got her cover blown in The Boys before she was killed off in the show. Aya Cash will play the role of Stormfront one more time, and both Jensen Ackles and Aya Cash will also serve as producers for the show. Of course, the center of attention has got to be Dr. Jonah Vogelbaum, the scientist who created Compound V, and you'll also see the likes of Stan Edgar and Mr. Vought himself in their younger days. No other major member of the cast has been revealed, but don't rule out a few random cameos, especially by the actors who have featured in Supernatural. Paul Grelong is going to be the showrunner for Vought Rising, and it'll be a co-production of Sony Pictures Television and Amazon MGM Studios. When can Vought Rising be released? We have the bad habit of getting too excited when something of this magnitude is announced on such a big stage, but maybe it's time to hold your horses on this one. Eric Kripke will have his hands full with the much-awaited fifth and final season of The Boys. After the first season of Gen V received a warm response from the fans, the following seasons are also being prepped. And even the animated anthology series titled The Boys Presents Diabolical will be on the list. All the workload and busy schedule will mean that Vought Rising will have to wait. You shouldn't expect anything in the next couple of years. If all goes well, and Eric Kripke and showrunner Paul Grelong don't run into any major production problems, you can expect Vought Rising not to be released anytime soon. Carl Urban, who plays the role of Billy Butcher, has suggested that the final season of The Boys won't be aired until 2026, and maybe Vought Rising can get a slot for the next or next to next year. We wouldn't want the makers to rush into things and deliver a half-baked product, but we also hope that the waiting period doesn't get too long and agonizing. Why was Vought Rising rejected by Amazon earlier? Not many are aware of the fact that this prequel series isn't the first bite of the cherry for Eric Kripke. Previously, in 2020, he had a meeting with Amazon officials and pitched his ideas for two spin-off projects, Gen V and Vought Rising. While the former was approved, the officials wanted to wait on the response of the viewers before approving Vought Rising. As it turns out, after the raging success of The Boys, as well as the spin-off project, the prequel series has finally been given the green signal. Better late than never, they say. And Eric Kripke couldn't agree more. Marvelous verdict. A concept with a ton of potential. The hype around the announced prequel series Vought Rising might be crazy, but these are still early days to speculate too much about the show. In fact, at this moment, all that we can say with certainty is that the show has a lot of potential, given how the storyline has been planned. The fans will be curious to know more about the sinister organization that's manipulated people for decades and become a billion-dollar company. Also, Soldier Boy is easily one of the most popular characters in the show, and it'll be a delight to have Jensen Ackles slip into the role one more time. His appearance in the final season of The Boys has already been teased, and if all goes well, the curiosity to see more of him will make Vought Rising an immediate hit. Of course, the likes of Billy Butcher and Homelander will be missed, and it'll be up to the rest of the cast to fill in their shoes. Do let us know in the comments below what you think of Vought Rising and what your expectations are from the show. Also, tell us which other character you'll be eager to see in Vought Rising apart from Soldier Boy and Stormfront. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.